Have you ever felt like you didn't belong not just in your town, your family, your school, but in this dimension? Not in a dramatic, teenage angst kind of way, but in a deep existential way. As if your soul, your essence, your entire being was forged not just from this world, but from something beyond it. Something older, something darker perhaps, but also more divine. There are some of us walking this earth who are not entirely of it. And no, I don't mean aliens or mythical creatures. I'm talking about the bridge chosen ones, rare souls who were sent into this world as connectors between dimensions, between light and dark, between fear and love, between chaos and peace. If you're watching this, something inside you already knows you might be one. And here's the truth. Most people will never understand you. They'll misunderstand your silence. They'll mislabel your intensity. They'll fear your depth. But that's because they only see with their eyes. You see with your spirit. You feel with your frequency. And that's the first sign that you are a rare bridge chosen one across the dark dimensions. Let me explain. This first sign is the haunting knowing, the sense that you've always known something others haven't. Since childhood, you've had glimpses, flashes of insight, vivid dreams, premonitions, or even sensations that time, reality, and space don't behave the way people think they do. You didn't learn this, you remembered it. Maybe you've walked into a room and immediately felt the residue of trauma from decades ago, even though no one said a word. Or you've met someone and instantly felt their pain, their shame, their despair without them speaking. You carry a radar for truth. And it makes people uncomfortable. But that radar is your inner compass. It's not a curse. It's a calling. The second sign is spiritual isolation. You've probably gone through long seasons of solitude, not because you didn't want connection, but because you couldn't fake it. You couldn't sit in rooms where people gossiped about nothing. You couldn't pretend you didn't see behind the masks people wore. You couldn't stay in relationships where your soul was being starved, so you chose silence. You chose emptiness over noise. And in that emptiness, something started to awaken. You realized that loneliness was not your enemy, it was your sacred initiation. Have you ever wondered why some of your deepest transformations happened when you were alone, in pain, or even in despair? Brother, sister, that's where the portals open. That's where the veil thins. The dark dimensions don't open in the light, they open in the shadows. And you were given the ability to see in the dark. The third sign is dreams and visions that feel more real than waking life. You've seen things, maybe entire worlds, symbols, languages, or beings that you can't explain. Maybe you've woken up crying, or with your body vibrating, or with the feeling that you just came back from a place that doesn't exist on any map. But it does exist. Just not in this dimension. Let me ask you something deeply personal. Have you ever had a dream so real, so intense, that it felt like a mission? Like you were being trained or tested or shown something you would one day need to remember? If yes, that wasn't a dream. That was a memory, a message, a mirror. The bridge-chosen ones are often visited in the dream state by guides, ancestors, or even versions of themselves from parallel timelines. These aren't fantasies. These are data packets from the soul. And your job isn't to decode them all at once. Your job is to trust them. The fourth sign is emotional intensity that borders on spiritual warfare. You don't just feel emotions, you become them. You don't just get sad, you feel like you're carrying the grief of the world. You don't just get angry, you feel like you're channeling centuries of injustice through your body. And that's because you are. You are an emotional vessel for the collective. A bridge. A conduit. Energy moves through you in ways that would break most people. But you're still here. You've cried oceans. You've screamed into pillows. You've sat in silence for hours, feeling the weight of it all. And still, something in you refuses to collapse. That's not weakness. That's not emotional instability. That's spiritual strength. You were forged in inner fires that most people will never have to walk through. Let's go deeper. The fifth sign is synchronicities that feel like codes. Numbers, animals, symbols, patterns, they follow you. You think of someone, they call. You ask for a sign, and it appears. You feel like the universe is in conversation with you. That's because it is. The bridge chosen ones walk between timelines. You're not bound by linear time. So the universe doesn't talk to you in a straight line, it talks in spirals, echoes, and riddles. Every repeating number, every feather on the ground, every déjà vu, it's not random. It's a breadcrumb trail. I'm up. The question is, are you paying attention? Or are you dismissing the magic because the world told you it wasn't real? How much of your life have you ignored the signs because you were afraid of being seen as crazy? But you're not crazy. You're coded. And the more you honor your codes, the more they will unlock. The sixth sign is you've survived things you shouldn't have. Trauma, abuse, betrayal, death. You've walked through hell and made it out with your soul intact. That's not luck, that's purpose. You were allowed to break so you could learn how to heal. You were allowed to be shattered so you could become a mosaic of light and shadow. Every scar is a sigil. Every wound is a portal. Every pain is a path. You were not just given pain, you were given depth. And that depth is necessary to bridge the dimensions. Because here's the truth, no bridge is built on smooth water. It's built over chaos. And your life has been chaotic because you were chosen to be the bridge over it. The seventh and final sign is you feel a mission, but you don't have the words for it. You've always known you were meant for something big, something that would change the course of others' lives, but you don't know what it is yet. That's okay. The mission isn't something you figure out. It's something you remember, piece by piece, through experience. And the mission isn't just about healing others. It's about becoming the bridge so others can cross. It's about embodying the frequency that allows others to awaken. It's about walking through the darkest places not to escape them, but to anchor light inside them. So I ask you now, what if your entire life, every heartbreak, every loss, every strange dream, every moment of silence was training? Not punishment, not coincidence, preparation. Are you ready to remember who you are?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
There are frequencies that cannot be heard with the human ear. There are energies that cannot be measured by science, but they're real. They exist in the spaces between thoughts, in the feeling you get when someone stares at you from behind, in the gut pull that tells you to turn left instead of right just before something happens. These frequencies are ancient, and you, my friend, were born tuned into them. You've probably felt it your whole life, a sort of static in the air when something significant is about to happen, a resonance in your bones around certain people, places, or even words. That's not imagination, that's alignment. You are tuned to the hidden frequency that connects dimensions, and while others walk through life blind to it, you feel it, you live it, you are it. But what makes this even more powerful and dangerous is that you don't just receive these frequencies, you emit them. Your presence alone shifts the energy of a room. Have you noticed that? People either feel drawn to you or repelled by you. There's rarely neutrality. That's because your field disrupts illusions. The moment you walk into a space, masks start to crack, lies start to tremble, truth becomes undeniable. And for those who have built their lives around falsehoods, your energy is terrifying. It's not that you're trying to expose them, it's that your existence does. This is why many bridge-chosen ones are misunderstood. You don't even have to speak, and yet people react to you as if you've said something offensive. You radiate a truth they're not ready to face. You carry a frequency from another world, one that reminds them of the parts of themselves they've buried. And so you've learned to dim. You've learned to become quieter, smaller, more palatable. You've learned to survive by pretending to be normal. But deep down, you know normal was never your path. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to remember and then to remind others of what they've forgotten. You were born with ancient coding in your soul codes that activate during moments of extreme pressure, deep heartbreak, or spiritual awakening. You may have noticed that during your darkest moments, something in you woke up. A voice, a knowing, a strength you didn't know you had. That wasn't your ego. That was your essence. That was your soul saying, finally, you're ready. But let me ask you this. Why do you think your awakening had to come through pain? The answer is simple. Because light that hasn't faced the dark is fragile. It's naive. It's easily manipulated. But light that has been tested in the fire, that light cannot be distorted. It becomes a force, a frequency, a pathway. And that's what you are. You are the rare soul who can walk into the dark dimensions not to escape, not to conquer but to connect, to bridge, to transmute. You are not here to avoid darkness. You are here to alchemize it. But here's the challenge and the sacred paradox. The more light you carry, the more darkness you will encounter, not because you're cursed, but because you're called to walk where others cannot, called to carry light into spaces where it's never existed before, called to hold your frequency in the face of distortion, manipulation, and fear and still remain true. This is why your journey has been so intense. This is why you've lost people, jobs, identities. Because in order to become the bridge, you had to let go of everything that was built on illusion. You had to be stripped down to your essence. And now that you're here, raw and real and radiant, now the real mission begins. So I ask you now, what are you emitting into the world? When you enter a room, when you speak, when you love, when you choose, what frequency are you choosing? Are you radiating fear? Or are you anchoring love? Are you repeating the patterns of the past? Or are you becoming the portal for something new? Remember this, the bridge isn't just something you build, it's something you become. You might think that your life has been random, this heartbreak, that loss, the moment you almost gave up. But what if I told you it was all part of a sacred preparation? What if every struggle you've endured was designed not to break you, but to reveal you? You see, the bridge chosen ones are not born into ease. They are born into war, an invisible internal war between the false self and the eternal self. And the battleground is your mind, your heart, your very soul. The enemy isn't outside of you. It's the programming, the fear, the beliefs you inherited that were never yours to carry. And the moment you begin to awaken, the war intensifies. Why? Because the moment a bridge chosen one remembers who they are, entire systems of illusion begin to tremble. You are not just healing yourself. You are collapsing timelines of suffering. You are ending generational cycles of silence. You are shifting energetic patterns that have persisted for centuries. And that is why the darkness fears you, not because of your strength, but because of your clarity. Because clarity is the key that unlocks bondage. Have you ever noticed how, just before you're about to step into something new, something powerful, something aligned, chaos erupts? A sudden betrayal, an unexpected loss, a wave of doubt that crashes through your mind like a storm. That's not coincidence. That's resistance. That's the old system trying to keep you tethered. Because the moment you move forward, you don't just free yourself. You free everything connected to you, your ancestors, your lineage, your soul tribe. This is the silent war within. And it's one of the clearest signs you are a bridge chosen one. Because normal people don't feel this level of inner conflict. They don't wake up with the weight of the world in their chest. They don't cry for reasons they can't explain. They don't feel like they're fighting battles no one else can see. But you do, because you are. You are engaged in a sacred war, a war where every choice you make is a spell. Every word you speak is a seed. Every boundary you set is a battle cry. The war isn't about violence. It's about vibration. It's about choosing truth when it's easier to lie. Choosing love when it's safer to hate. Choosing alignment when the world rewards chaos. Let me ask you something that might shake you. What darkness have you been avoiding that you are actually born to walk through? Because here's the paradox of the bridge chosen one: you are called not just to bring light into the world, but to retrieve light from the darkest places, to go where others cannot, to hold space where others collapse, to face what others deny. You're not here to bypass the pain. You're here to transform it. You're not here to escape the matrix. You're here to rewrite it. And that rewriting doesn't happen through force. It happens through frequency, through presence, through your willingness to feel it all and still choose love. Have you noticed how your greatest pain often becomes your greatest teacher? That's not by accident. That's alchemy. That's how the soul evolves. Your heartbreak was not just for you, it was to teach others how to love again. Your trauma was not just a wound, it was an initiation. And now, every scar on your spirit becomes a map for someone else to find their way home. You are not broken. You are encoded. And the more you embrace the war within, the more you realize it was never about defeating darkness. It was about integrating it, about becoming whole. Because wholeness is the real weapon, and integration is the path of the bridge. So now I turn the question to you. What would happen if you stopped running from the darkness and started listening to it? What would it whisper? What secrets would it reveal? What light has it been hiding, waiting for you to claim it? Remember, the bridge doesn't run from the storm. It stands in it. It holds. It connects. And because of that, others find their way across. There comes a moment in every bridge-chosen one's life when they stop searching for the path and realize they are the path. Not because they have all the answers, not because they've mastered all the mysteries, but because they've walked through enough darkness to hold space for the light. You see, your pain was never just about you. It was the fire that forged your soul into a vessel capable of carrying power, real power. Not the kind that dominates, manipulates, or performs, but the kind that heals simply by being. The kind that speaks without words. The kind that makes people feel seen, safe, and sovereign in your presence. You weren't just called to survive the dark dimensions. You were called to bridge them, to walk between the unseen realms and this waking world with grace and grit, to translate frequencies that others can't hear into words, art, presence, and action, to remind others that the light they're looking for is not above them, it's within them. But here's the truth most people never want to face. Becoming a bridge costs everything that isn't authentic. It requires you to die to who you thought you were, again and again. It demands that you let go of the masks, the roles, the attachments, and even the dreams that were built from fear. It doesn't ask for comfort, it asks for courage. And it rewards you not with applause, but with alignment. So I ask you now, with all the honesty you can summon, what are you still holding on to that was never meant to cross the bridge with you? A belief, a relationship, a version of yourself that keeps you small, safe, and silent. The bridge cannot carry weight that isn't truth. It collapses under the burden of pretending. And that's why so many people never become who they were born to be, because they refuse to let go of who they were trained to be. But you're different. You wouldn't be here, listening to these words, if you weren't already standing at the edge of transformation. You wouldn't feel this resonance if the frequency of your soul wasn't already vibrating with the memory of your mission. You were chosen not because you're better, but because you're capable. Not because your path is easier, but because your light can endure the weight of shadow. You are the living prophecy, the one your ancestors dreamed of, the one your lineage prayed for, the one who said yes before you were even born. And now the question is not whether you're ready. The question is, are you willing? Willing to be seen, willing to be misunderstood, willing to walk away from everything familiar in order to walk toward what is true. Willing to honor your calling even when it's inconvenient, lonely, or terrifying. Because now you know this world is not what it seems. And neither are you. You are both the storm and the stillness, the wound and the medicine, the question and the answer. You are the bridge. And as you step fully into that truth, the dimensions will begin to respond. The people you are meant to guide will find you. The synchronicities will multiply. The purpose will clarify. The illusions will fall away. And one day, you'll look back at all the pain, all the solitude, all the nights you thought you were lost, and realize you were never lost. You were just becoming. So go. Step into the unknown with your eyes open and your heart fierce. Let your life be the bridge. Let your presence be the prophecy. Let your pain become the light that leads others home. Because the dark dimensions were never your prison. They were your proving ground. And now, it's time to rise. You were never just chosen. You were sent.